Matt Armstrong bought a crashed Ferrari 296 GTB. His plan was ambitious, not just repair it, but convert it to full 296 challenge specification using Ferrari's own parts. What followed turned into one of the most watched legal and ethical flashpoints the automotive world has seen in years. And the timing couldn't be worse for Ferrari. Let's break down exactly what happened, why it matters, and why Ferrari may have just walked into a legal trap of its own making. Matt sourced a written-off 296 GTB with front-end damage and a compromised hybrid battery management system. The crash data stored in the hybrid control modules prevents the car from starting, a safety feature, but one that requires a Ferrari dealer to clear. That detail becomes important later. His goal wasn't a stock restoration. He wanted to transform the car into 296 challenge specification, the track-focused variant Ferrari produces for its one-make racing series. Same platform, different tune, different bodywork, dramatically different purpose. To do it legitimately, Matt ordered the challenge conversion kit directly from Ferrari, using his road car's VIN. And at first, the system played along. The rear bumper shipped. The diffuser arrived. The wing, side skirts, and exhaust components all came through without issue. Matt installed what he received, and the car began its transformation, looking increasingly like the race-ready machine he had envisioned. Then he tried to order the final components needed to complete the conversion. Ferrari blocked every single one. The car is now stranded between two specifications. It can't be finished as a challenge car because Ferrari has refused to supply the remaining parts. But it can't go back to standard specification either, because the challenge components already installed have fundamentally changed the vehicle. And it still won't start, because the crash data sitting in the hybrid battery control modules needs to be cleared by a Ferrari dealer, and Ferrari dealers won't touch modified vehicles. Matt Armstrong didn't half-build a car out of carelessness. He ordered parts through official channels. Ferrari's own system accepted the orders, and Ferrari fulfilled them until they didn't. The question that matters here isn't whether Ferrari has the right to control its brand image. The question is whether a manufacturer can sell a customer half the components needed to complete a job, block the rest, and then refuse to service the resulting vehicle. And under incoming EU legislation, the answer is increasingly no, they cannot. In July of this year, new EU regulations come into full effect requiring vehicle manufacturers to provide independent repairers and consumers with access to spare parts, repair tools, and technical information for a minimum of 5 to 7 years after a vehicle's production date. These aren't vague guidelines. They are legally binding mandates targeting exactly the kind of closed ecosystem gatekeeping that luxury manufacturers have relied on for decades. Here's what the regulations specifically require. Parts access. Manufacturers must make spare parts available not just to their authorized dealer networks, but to any qualified independent repairer. The exclusivity that Ferrari's service network currently enjoys, where certain components are simply unavailable outside official channels, becomes illegal restraint of trade. Tool access. Specialized diagnostic equipment, calibration tools, and proprietary software that currently exist only inside dealer systems must be made accessible to independent workshops. The ability to clear crash data from a 296 GTB's hybrid battery management system, for example, cannot remain gated behind dealership walls. Technical information. Service manuals, wiring diagrams, diagnostic procedures, and technical specifications. The documentation Ferrari currently restricts to its authorized network must be made available to independent repairers under the new rules. Ferrari's handling of Matt's situation is almost a textbook illustration of what these regulations are designed to prevent. The company's own ordering system initially processed and fulfilled his challenge parts requests, demonstrating clearly that the restriction isn't a technical limitation. When Ferrari blocked the remaining components, it was a deliberate policy decision. Under the new EU framework, that distinction matters enormously because policy decisions that restrict legitimate parts access become actionable violations. The automotive community's response has been more than frustrated commentary. People are paying close attention to the legal dimension of this story, and some are offering to fund litigation. The reason is straightforward. If this goes to court, Ferrari's legal position is weak, and the discovery process alone could be damaging. Court-ordered discovery in a right-to-repair case would require Ferrari to produce internal communications about parts refusal policies. It would expose the pricing structures behind their parts network, what Ferrari pays to manufacture or source components versus what it charges customers and dealers. It would reveal the policies governing which vehicles their authorized service centers will and won't touch, and the internal rationale behind those decisions. Discovery could also expose how Ferrari manages parts availability more broadly. There are long-standing questions in the enthusiast community about why certain components take months to source when they're available in distribution warehouses. Whether that reflects genuine supply chain constraints or deliberate inventory management to influence the used parts market is exactly the kind of question that internal documentation would answer. If there is any evidence of coordination between luxury manufacturers on parts access policies, a shared strategy for using service exclusivity to generate revenue and control customer behavior, discovery makes that visible too. And Ferrari has handled some technical issues quietly through dealer service rather than public recalls. Any documented pattern of known defects being managed privately instead of transparently would become part of the public record. None of this reaches the public unless Ferrari refuses to adapt and a case actually goes to court. But the automotive community is making the point clearly. The risk of that exposure is real, it is significant, and Ferrari brought it on themselves. Ferrari's business model relies heavily on service revenue generated through its authorized dealer network. Parts margins in the luxury automotive sector are substantial. The gap between manufacturing cost and retail price for many components is wide, and that margin depends on exclusivity. If independent repairers gain legitimate access to the same parts network and the same technical information, the captive customer model that sustains Ferrari's service ecosystem comes under serious pressure. This is why the automotive world is watching Matt Armstrong's situation so closely. It isn't really about one 296 GTB stuck in a Hertfordshire workshop. It's about whether the new EU right to repair regulations will be tested, enforced, and used to set precedent, or whether manufacturers will find ways to delay and minimize compliance until forced into it by litigation. Enthusiasts are frustrated, and that frustration runs deeper than sympathy for one YouTuber's project. It connects to a broader question about what vehicle ownership actually means when a manufacturer retains permanent leverage over parts, software, and service access. Technically, Matt owns his Ferrari. In practice, Ferrari's refusal to supply parts or authorize service means he owns a car he cannot legally complete or legally start. That is a situation more and more owners, not just of Ferraris, not just of luxury vehicles, are finding themselves in as modern vehicles become increasingly dependent on proprietary software and manufacturer-controlled service networks. The warning from the automotive community to Ferrari is direct. The timing of blocking Matt's parts, right before the new EU regulations take full effect, could not be more damaging to their legal position. There is no exemption for low-volume manufacturers, no carve-out for limited production vehicles, no provision allowing brand exclusivity to override right-to-repair obligations. Ferrari is not a special case under these rules. Ferrari now faces a straightforward decision. Sell Matt the parts he needs, complete the transaction their own system began, and resolve the situation quietly. Or maintain the refusal, leave his car in legal and mechanical limbo, and become the test case. The company whose parts gatekeeping gets scrutinized in court, documented through discovery, and used to set precedent that reshapes how every manufacturer in the EU handles independent repair access. If Ferrari genuinely believes their position is legally defensible, they should welcome that test. If they don't, the smarter move is obvious. Either way, the broader industry is watching. Whatever Ferrari decides will signal to every other luxury manufacturer whether the new right to repair framework has real teeth, or whether it's legislation that sounds strong on paper but gets quietly absorbed into existing business as usual. Matt Armstrong's 296 GTB may end up doing more to change how cars are owned, repaired, and serviced across Europe than any single vehicle reasonably should, not because of what it is, but because of what Ferrari decided to do when he tried to finish building it.